Hi everybody, welcome back to Dark Feminine Consciousness. I am Tifara. Today, as the title suggests, we're going to talk about weed. We're going to talk about marijuana, cannabis, Mary Jane, Kush, Sensimina. She has so many names. I'm just going to talk a little bit about my experience with it and why I don't smoke anymore, and what weed has been like for me over the years. I started smoking weed as a teenager. Around 15, 16, I started smoking with some friends. I had a friend who, she had some supervision from an aunt or an older cousin, I think, but either the older cousin was always at work or something. So she was on her own most of the time. She had her own keys, so she could go in and out as much as she wanted. She could have visitors as she wanted. We took advantage of that. So one day we decided that we were gonna try weed. We're gonna take the day off from school and smoke weed. We had a friend who is actually a kind of popular local artist, a DJ, and he was the one who provided us with the weed. He came and he rolled the spliff for us, showed us how to roll it, and you know, one of the things I rate about this virgin is that he never pushed himself upon us. You know, we have 5 girls who are gonna go smoke weed on their own. Most men would get excited and want to be in the middle of it, but he wasn't like that. He came, gave us the weed, showed us how to use it, and basically told us have fun, and then he left us, and that's what we did. We had a lot of realizations, and those caused us to laugh a lot. We laughed at everything and we noticed everything. We had fun that day, and so that's where my relationship with weed started, and that was in 5th form. And then of course it went on through 6th form. I was starting to use it a lot and I was becoming dependent on it. I wasn't balancing it. That's pretty much when my rebellious phase started, and I rebelled against my parents a lot because I felt like their style of parenting was very oppressive. I didn't have any freedom. And I think just one of the worst ways to parent children, because people forget that children are humans and they want freedom to express and freedom to explore and freedom to, you know, just be in them space and have them space just like everybody else. Everybody have feelings, you know. And so they were trying to trap me into a little, you know, sheltered Christian home that just felt like a prison. It felt like slavery. I was locked away, and so I rebelled hard against it, and so it made our relationships difficult, and I was away from home a lot. I managed to get through 5th form, and I went on to 6th form, but 6th form was a struggle for me because I was still using the herb and I was using it a lot more. So I was very inconsistent with school. And then I went on to, I actually applied for UWI, and I got accepted. I had a rocky start for UWI as well. It was a rocky start. I really didn't have it all together. And so the first year that I was at UWI, I failed. I failed everything. I failed a lot. I probably passed 1 or 2 subjects, but I failed a lot. And that, I think, you know, if I'm being honest with myself, was because of my abuse of weed. I started to abuse it. And one of the things that I've learned over the years about from weed and from herb in general is that you can't abuse them. You know, herbs are here for a purpose. They're here to serve. They're here to heal. And so you really are supposed to use them when you need them. If you're looking for healing, you should be using it for healing. And then when you get what you need from the herb, then you should stop using it. But that is not what I did, and that's not what we do in general as a culture. we overuse the herb, we abuse it. Anything you abuse, after a while it starts to abuse you. And so that's what ended up happening to me with weed. And I didn't realize that it was abusing me. And I think anybody at all who overuse herb, the herb has abused them in some way. You're just not honest with yourself, or you're just not seeing it. But there's some aspect of your life that is the way that it is because of your abuse of herbs. And so for me, what affected me was I was a bum. I was bumming out life. Well, eventually I got my together. But weed took me down a path that I wouldn't say it was destructive, but I definitely neglected a lot of myself, a lot of my responsibilities to myself, to my family, to my relationships, to my friendships. Weed made me very irresponsible. My abuse of weed. I found myself at an age where I wasn't finished with school. A lot of my friends had finished school. I didn't have any real skill. I didn't have any serious gift as far as I could see. I just didn't know what I was doing with my life. And you know, I thought by this age I would have been married, I would have had children. I thought my life was going to be a lot different. So when I got to that age and it wasn't, I literally had a breakdown. I did on my own, I did a lot of shadow work with weed. And it was a forceful thing. Weed became a mirror for me. And every time I smoked it, it came in front of me and said, this is you. This is where you're at. This is what you have. This is what you've done with your life. Are you proud of yourself? I was faced with myself. It used to freak me out. Every time I smoked, I was like, what is this? Why am I having these? I'm supposed to be having fun. When I smoke, I'm supposed to just feel nice and happy and whatever, but that was not happening for me at all. Just beer box and kick. So I didn't have a choice but to get it together. There were moments where I spazzed out on weed a lot. I smoked it and I was just taken to a very dark place where I saw a lot of my fears, a lot of things about me that I wasn't proud of, a lot of mistakes that I made, just everything. And I mean, this is early, this is in my 20s, so it's still very young for me to be having these types of realizations, but I'm still grateful for them. Now I'm grateful for them. But it's very similar to the experience I've heard people talk about with mushrooms and ayahuasca, that it's a similar type of experience where it opens you up to the quote-unquote dark side of you, the side of you that you don't explore more, the side of you that is full of traumas, is full of, you know, skeletons, secrets, everything that you don't typically look at on a day-to-day. You don't really face these things about yourself every day because you're not forced to. You can always hide them, push them back in your subconscious. I don't want to think about that, no. But when you smoke, use certain herbs, you don't have a choice. It's coming to the forefront and you better deal with it. After that started, I stopped smoking for years. I stopped smoking for a few years. In my 20s, I didn't smoke at all. And so that was my time that I took to get my stuff together. And so I started to organize myself as far as school was concerned. I got serious about a relationship. The man that I talk about in my polygyny video that I was with for 7 years, he basically came around just during the time when I was starting to transition out of not smoking weed anymore. I did a lot of shadow work in my relationship with him as well. And he was a mirror for me in a lot of ways too. But he was very patient and kind with me, because I went through a phase where I couldn't sleep at night. I was anxious. I had like panic attacks a lot. And it's because I was feeling like I was missing out on life and I had a lot to catch up on. Didn't realize I was still very young, because as I said, this was about 24, 25, 26. This was the years of realization, like, what am I doing with my life? I remember one day he was just like, it's not that bad, you can turn things around. There are lots of things that you can change if you start working on it right now. Stop thinking about what you did already or what you didn't do. Stop thinking about what don't come yet. Just focus on what you can do right now. And right now, whatever it is that you want, you can start working towards it right now. You can write a plan for it right now. In that phase, until about maybe 30, I really didn't smoke weed. If I had any, I took a little one puff here and there. I didn't start smoking weed again until I felt like I was in a more comfortable place mentally. I felt like I was progressing more. I felt like I was doing more. I felt more productive. And so I felt like, okay, I can start smoking weed again. I can start, slowly, getting to know her again and start that relationship again. But I knew I was gonna do it different this time. I definitely wasn't gonna abuse it. I wasn't gonna use it just for fun. I would definitely be using it for more medicinal purposes, for more meditating, a lot of my spiritual growth, a lot of my personal growth, and a lot of my rebellious ways, a lot of my yearning for knowledge, a lot of my openness to knowledge came from weed as well. I'm grateful for all of what that plant has taught me. Ayahuasca and mushroom, it gives you a deeper look into self, because a lot of the people that I've seen use, I don't know if it will be the same for me, because as I said, I've done a lot of this shadow work already. I have faced a lot of my fears. I have faced a lot of myself and all of my I faced a lot of it. I faced a lot of my traumas. I faced a lot of things and dealt and tried to deal with them, and still dealing with them. It's not like you perfect these things once you come to realizations. It's constant work. It never stops. I don't know if I'll go on that ride with mushrooms and ayahuasca. Maybe there's some deeper things that needs to be exposed that may come out. There's something that every herb has to teach you. I want to try them, but I don't know if it will happen. It's just the magic of herbs. If it is supposed to happen, it is supposed to happen. If I'm supposed to get lessons from these herbs, I will get lessons from these herbs. It might be that marijuana is enough, but I don't think so. I really think I'm gonna try mushrooms. I think mushrooms have something for me. So now I don't smoke anymore because, one, I think smoking is unhealthy. No matter what it is that you're smoking, it's smoking. I steam my vape, I eat it. That's it. I think as a culture, we have started to seriously abuse the herb. I think our abuse of it is the reason why it is what it is today, because it was supposed to be a sacrament for Rastafari. I think the Indians brought it here, just like they brought neem and they brought turmeric. I think they're the ones who brought weed here. It came from Asia, the original herb. So Rastafari took it up, and it became a part of their rituals. The rest of Jamaica experienced it, but it became something that we abused, and we didn't use it for medicine. we didn't use it for healing. I think it started to abuse us. It has started to abuse us as a culture. And so that's why I think we're losing the benefit of the plant now, because now the medical industry has gotten involved. They're trying to split up the plant and the plant properties, which takes away from the usefulness of the herb. You know, you want every part of it. You can't take out one thing and say do away with the rest of it. It's all symbiotic. They all work together. Now there isn't a lot of original strains. There isn't organic weed anymore. We don't know what we're smoking half of the time. So I think we've come to a point now where, well, myself, I want to start growing my own herb. So there's a whole waiting period, and there's a whole getting to know the herb, getting acquainted, getting, you know, it's a connection that I'm making with the herb. And so when the time comes for me to smoke it, I will get the medicine that I need from it, rather than just randomly smoking weed and any herb from anywhere, and is this strain that they make because they want to get you extremely high or something like that. And it's just like the value of it isn't there anymore. And so my personal opinion is that weed came here and it did what it was supposed to do. It fulfilled its purpose. And so what it used to be to us is not what it is anymore. If you're looking for that value in marijuana, you are going to have to grow it yourself. And you can't find some organic strains around. You can't find some people who grow it with intention. But it might be best soon if you just grow your own weed. I don't know if there's any salvaging the relationship with herb. No, as I said before, I think it's just done its time, and it's gonna move through this space differently. It's just going to be a plant that used to be. And so maybe decades, centuries from now, it will resurface as something else or as itself, but they will learn how to use it the way that it used to be used again. But now I think we've fucked it up. It's just not the same anymore. Again, there are other plants that will come and serve its purpose for us and teach us, just like herb. It's not the only one. There are plenty of them out there. It's just they have not made it to this region. The magic of plants is that when you need it, it will find you. And I think we Jamaicans, we needed the weed. And so it came here because we needed the healing that it was offering. And a lot of things I think came out of that. Reggae music came out of that. Rastafari came out of that. Bob Marley came out of that. And Bob Marley is a huge gift to the world from Jamaica, from Rastafari. So a lot of good things have come from our use of the herb. Where I'm at with it now, I steam it, and I steam occasionally. I really don't need it. Honestly, I don't need the shadow work. I've done a lot of shadow work. I mean, I guess you can always do a little bit more shadow work because nobody is perfect. There is always work to be done on self. But that deep shadow work that I used to get from her back in the day, I don't get those anymore because I feel like a lot of the lessons that I was supposed to learn, I already learned them. What I should be doing now is doing what I know is the right thing for me to do. So if I'm not doing those things, I know that I will have other lessons to learn. So right now I just have to make sure that I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. That's my experience with herb. I think there's a lot to learn from it. A lot of healing can come from it. And there's so many ways to use herb. So if you don't like smoking, or if you're offended by smoking, you can eat it, you can cook it, you can drink it in tea, you can use the oil. There's so many ways to get the benefit of marijuana. I don't like when people try to say that it is a drug. It is a plant, and it is mind-boggling to me that people are so conditioned that they would demonize a plant, an ancient plant that our ancestors used for answers about the universe, answers about self, answers to just their general problems coming from this plant. And you get all of that plus some happiness. Once you've worked through your shadow, then you feel the happy, because now I don't get those anymore. Now it's just a really good feeling, or a deep meditation, or just a really nice vibe, you know. And it's a clean steam, no smoke, just a pure herb. That's my experience with weed. Please hit the like button, like and share, subscribe if you haven't yet, and we'll link up in the next video. Take care of yourself, guys. Later.